welcome to ChubbyPugYarn podcast. This is a podcast about knitting, sometimes spinning, sewing, crocheting. So yeah, just about my crafty explorations. My name is Emma and I'm recording in a very sunny Norway where I live. So it feels really nice that this is my third episode since I decided to jump back into recording. It feels great. So if you're a returning viewer, thank you very much for coming back. And if you're new and checking out this podcast, welcome. I hope you will enjoy some crafty time while I talk about my crafty things. I have no dogs here in the sofa today. The bulldog is walking around, so maybe he will come up and say hello. We will see. The pug is sleeping in the bedroom, as always, so yeah. Maybe I should just start talking about the knitting. I believe this episode will be a little bit shorter since I don't have very many things to talk about. Since I don't get that much knitting time during my weeks now. I work, and when I'm not working I'm quite tired, so I often sleep on the sofa and so there isn't very much knitting time in my work days. But in the weekends I try to knit as much as possible, and if I have a good work day where I still have energy when I get home, I knit a bit. So I have two finished objects. I have one that I can show, so I will start with these. So here are my socks. So this is a sock pattern from a Swedish designer called Clara Falk. The pattern is for free, so it's really nice. I dyed the yarn myself, so I went to my local yarn store. I bought some yarn in white, and then I made this ice blue minty color and the yellow. So now I have a complete pair. So yeah, as you can see, the yarn has a little bit of a halo. The sock yarn, or the yarn, is wool, alpaca and nylon. So it's really soft, but I hope the nylon content will make them durable. So yeah, I really like the pattern. It was very addictive, especially this pattern section in the foot. So it just flew by. The only alteration is that I changed the heel. It was a regular short row heel, and since last time when I talked about it, I had a nice viewer that contacted me with a link to how to make those, I should say, properly, and to troubleshoot my short row heels. But on this pair I took an heel from another sock pattern, but I figured it matches the toe, so it will work for this pair. It will work for this pair, but maybe I should try short row heels some other time again. I can't give up. But otherwise I will have to find other heels to use, and I will give these to my husband now so he can try them out and give me a review what he thinks. He's a little bit skeptical about the ridge, so we will see what he thinks when he's wearing them. And the other finished object is the Riddari sweater, the Icelandic very popular sweater. I knitted one for myself 5 years ago, and now I have finished one for my brother, so I will insert a picture of it. So the yoke part went really quick. It was really rewarding to just finish it up, be done with it, and I finished it while my parents were here this Easter, and they brought it home to my brother, and I was really excited to see how the fit was, since I haven't met my brother for several months, so I wasn't sure about the fit, but they said it fit really well and he uses it a lot, so that's a bonus. Hey Frank, will you come up? Come up. And now the bulldog is here. Hey Frank. He probably wants some snuggles. So yeah, that's the finished objects. And then on the works in progress, I have one you saw last time I recorded, so I will start there. Den runda filten, the round blanket. This is how far I have gotten now. So last time you saw it, I was working on the green, and I made some new spots. I knitted a turquoise, and then I have some green spots, and now I'm working on the purple. So it's growing really quickly. I don't know if I mentioned last time, but I'm knitting this in Hillesvåg Ask. So it's a Norwegian yarn. It's quite rustic, but I'm really looking forward to see how it will turn out when I wash it. So this will be a warm blanket to have for our little baby, to have when we're taking walks outside, maybe in the autumn, to have a warm blanket. It moves a little bit slower now, since it's expanding to keep it a flat circle. But actually this is a really great mindless project for me now, when I'm tired and sleepy in the work days. I can just pick it up and knit around and around, and then I have a marker that tells me when I should do the increases on my markers. So I have these to mark up the spot where I should do it, and then I have a marker at the beginning of the round over here that tells me how many rows I have knitted since the last increase. So it's really nice to have something mindless that is just stockinette stitch to do on my work days when I'm not sleeping. So yeah, this I'm really looking forward to finish this, but it will probably be a couple of more weeks, since I need to knit a whole section of the purple, and then I will do turquoise, or this bluish turquoise in the spots, and then I will have a dark blue as a border, and the border is in garter, so we will see if that will probably be a little bit slower than the stockinette, but we'll see how it will be. But I'm looking forward to have a finished blanket. I'm really excited to see how I will solve the blocking of this, but I will figure it out. And then, since I bound off one pair of socks, my work knitting or car knitting and stuff, I had to start something else. So in my drawstring bag that I usually have in my backpack, I really like to have one drawstring to have in the bag that I bring in the car all the time, and these socks are new in some ways I'm trying out to knit socks with Baden Wolle yarn. I have a lot of Baden Wolle yarn, but I haven't knit any socks. I have had her everyday merino base and knitted shawls with, and I have a lot of sock skeins, but I haven't tried to knit socks with it yet. So here is my cake, and I wasn't really sure what pattern to try it out on. It has a little bit of pink and dark brown speckles in it, but it's quite a neutral. So I decided to try the Rita socks, the new pattern from Danny of Little Bobbin Knits. So here are my socks so far. I'm not really confident about it yet, but I will just try to knit on and see how it will turn out. Since the speckling is a little bit heavier than it looked on the skein, it feels like it's covering up the lace patterning a bit, so you don't see the lace as clearly. Over here you see it quite well, and that was how I thought the whole skein would be. But it's not, and as you can see I have some pooling of this the speckle or these dots pink, so I'm not really sure about these socks. The pattern is great and the yarn is really thick and nice, but the yarn is more heavily speckled than it looked on the skein, so maybe this will be frogged, or maybe I will just knit on and see how it will feel later on. And these needles are new to me. I'm trying out the Addy Crazy Trio, so I have 3 of these needles, so 2 here and 1 to knit with, and they have one point that is a little bit more, this is really hard, one point that is sharper than the other. So this is my first tryout with these needles. I had some trouble trying to find out how to hold the needles in my hand, since I found out that I'm holding my normal DPNs quite, I control it quite a lot with my my 2 last fingers on the hand, and these are really short, so I must knit with maybe often 3 or 4 fingers on the needle and not push it out the wrong direction. So it feels like it's somewhere in between a magic loop and DPNs. The biggest positive thing yet is that I don't get any ladders, so that's really nice. You can't really see it where I've changed the needle, so that's really nice. But I figure I will need to knit at least a whole pair of socks on these needles, or maybe more, to say something like if I like them or not. I don't hate them at least, but we will see how I feel when I have try them some more. So yeah, that was my new sock project, and then I have one project that I have picked up now when my parents were here this last Easter. We had a lot of family that had sent some baby stuffs with my parents, a baby bed and stroller and stuff. And when my parents had went back to Sweden, my husband and I decided to kickstart our rearranging of the bedroom and all that stuff. And then we came across quite a lot of knitting projects laying around, some in just tote bags and some in project bags, and my husband decided to bring all these knitting projects that I am not actively knitting on. He like collected them all and brought them up in a big pile and told me he asked me, how many knitting projects do you think you have, like UFOs? And I was like, yeah, maybe 10 or something. And yeah, he said, well, with only looking like in the living room and bedroom, I have found at least 18, but I'm not sure about the guest room or storing room. So the truth is still out there. We don't know how many projects you have, but maybe you should go through these projects and pick one that you want to knit up before you start something new. He said very kindly and politely, so I took that incentive and looked through my project bags with UFOs. So I will have, from now on, I will try to have one UFO, The Truth Is Out There project going, at least one of these going, and tell you a little bit more about them, and trying to analyze why I just stopped knitting on them, and if I want to keep on knitting or frogging, so you can follow my process with reducing my UFO part of the objects. So the first one in my The Truth Is Out There segment are Majas Mamelucker, and I had knitted really far on these. I started these in January 2017, and I haven't been knitting on them since maybe March 2017. So they have been lying in this bag, just waiting. These have become quite popular, and I really understand why, since they are really nice. So they are basically knitted shorts for adults. So I had knitted all this ribbing, and there are still ribbing on the sides, and I could actually pinpoint why I stopped knitting on this. I tried to knit it in the pattern or recipe description, but the numbers were too small for me. It's a free pattern, by the way, and it's really nice. You should really check it out. But the numbers in the pattern, it's only one size, wasn't fitting me, so I had to. They had she had a really nice text about how to do alterations to the stitch counts. So I had recalculated it for my size, knitted the ribbing and knitted the stockinette part, and then you were supposed to do short rows, and that's when I stopped. I needed to sit down and and calculate how to apply the short rows with my stitch count. And that's when this project kind of slowly moved to the UFO section of the house. And also in 2017 we went on the honeymoon and I got sick, and then I didn't have like the mental capacity to sit down and just count on how to do the short rows. So now I was really motivated to finish these, since now is the perfect time of the year to use these. I'm really fond of using dresses, but it's quite cold, and I have found that my baby bump is often get cold if I am not dressed properly. So I figured that these are very elastic, so I will still get it to cover the baby bump, and I can use them all spring. So I just sat down last weekend. I did the calculations for the short rows, so now I have markers here for my short rows. So the front doesn't have any short rows, but you do them in the back so that your butt will fit in. So I have one pair of short rows left before I knit. I don't know what the name of the part is, but the name, or the part that is connecting the front to the back, and then I have to do some ribbing on the legs. So these are not, they don't have much knitting left. So maybe in an episode or two I can have these done, and then I have to dive into my UFO pile again to see. But I really enjoy it, and I'm really glad that I picked these up now. It felt really appropriate. So that's my last work in progress. So yeah, I'm trying to be productive and finish stuff. It feels like I want to have the things I'm working on now finished before the little baby arrives, so I can see when I get into my new routine, my new life that it will be, then I can see where is my mental capacity. Will I be able to have an energy for knitting, and what type of knitting do I want when living with a little infant. So I figured it's better to try to finish up my projects now, so I don't increase that humongous pile of UFOs. So yeah, it's only 3 projects on the go. 1 mindless, 1 for a little bit of thinking, and 1 to have at work that is small. But a lot of the knitting time this weekend has gone to dyeing yarn, so I will show you some of my newest dyeing experience. So, or last week I decided to try out to dye some ask from Hillesvåg, the Norwegian yarn, which I'm knitting my blanket in. I wanted to see if I could make like really sharp, not neon, but almost color, like really sharp colors. So I made this hot pink and this really bright sunny yellow. The first time I dyed with ask, I thought that the colors were a little bit muted compared to other yarn qualities I have tried, but these turned out really well. And this the ask actually has I believe it's 3 different kind of white. So they have a natural white, or off-white. Then they have one that is, they call like half bleached, and one that's fully bleached. So this is the half bleached white that I dyed on. So it could be that the first time I bought white yarn, it was probably the off-white. So then they have a slight hint of grey fibers in the yarn, which makes it yeah, more muted or in the colors. But these are really, really bright, and it's really cheering me up in this cold winter days. But now the spring is coming, and this feels like really sharp and nice colors. The pink is not in my comfort zone, but I really enjoy dyeing pink, actually. And I do have family members that likes pink, and so I will always find something to do with it. So these were completely dry, and I will take photos of them later. And then I dyed some yesterday, which isn't, it's still a little bit damp. When my mother was here, she was petting some of my white yarn that I have plans to dye, but I don't knit as much as I dye, so I have quite a lot of white yarn lying around. And she wanted to knit some socks, so we took some skeins of merino cashmere nylon, and she wanted to have a midnight blue and a bright red to combine with a white. So here you have my midnight blue and my red. These are still damp, and I haven't rewound them yet, so they are a little bit messy. So yeah, I mixed a recipe for a midnight blue, and I think I hit a quite a good spot for the midnight blue, and I think the red was really, really nice too. Maybe it's a little bit on the cold side, but I think it works out really well with the blue one. So we will see if she likes it. I haven't sent her any pictures yet, so but this still has to dry up, and then I like to rewind the hanks to have them really smooth and nice. So we will see. And then I wanted to try out a new base with merino, bamboo and tencel. Sorry. So the first one I dyed was this. So my mother wanted two kinds of green to stripe, and then a red to have as a contrast color on the lighter green to make socks to try out. And this was the first try, and I figured it was a little bit either too dark to be the light green and too light to be the dark green. So that was my first tryout, and then I made a darker one, which is this. So as you can see, it's a smidge darker. It was really hard to dye on this bamboo tencel yarn, since it has really a lot of luster, but the colors get quite pale. This is the same recipe, but on merino, superwash merino nylon base. So you can see that this is quite a lot darker than this. But I figured if I use the same base for all, they will probably match with the same luster. So then I took this recipe and made a lighter one. So I took maybe a fourth of the strength from this one to make this. So I think it looks quite nice. It's not, this is not as dark as I anticipated it to be, and this one turned out darker than I wanted to. But I think it's enough contrast. I will see what my mother thinks. And then the red one I would probably have to re-dye, because when it dried it got a lot paler. I think it's probably because of, which I should have thought of, that bamboo and tencel probably won't take dye in the same way, since I use acid dyes, and it's only the acid dye only catches or works on animal based fibers and nylon. But this is the red one. So the plan is to use these three together. So I will have them dried, reskein them, and send them to my mother, so she can knit with it and see how it goes. It actually doesn't look that bad when you put them together, but if you look at this red one compared to other red ones with the same recipe I have, it looks quite different. But it's really cool to try out some other bases. I have mostly dyed on Merino nylon yarn. I have some BFL I want to try out too, since I'm more a fan of BFL nylon yarn than Merino nylon. So yeah, these three will become some knitting for my mother, or not knitting for my mother, but yarns so she can knit with. Yeah, and that's all the yarn I dyed. So I will put them back on the drying rack, and hopefully I can take some photos when they are dried, so I can post on Instagram or so. Yeah, and then I only have one more thing to show you. It will be under my stash a lot section, even though it's not stash. I have gotten myself a gleaner. So all the American and Canadian podcasters have been talking about this for ages, but we have recently gotten them to Norway. You have been able to order them from the States, but shipping and imports to Norway are crazy expensive. But now we have a retailer, Blooded Garn. They have a web shop, so they sell Chiago needles and stitch markers and stuff, and also gleaners. So I asked my friend if I could get one, and she ordered when she got a new batch. I could go and pick up mine. So there are 3 different heads to fit on this section, and then you have this fabric brush on this side. I haven't tried it out yet, but I have plans to try it on my building blocks shawl, the Stephen West one. I have been using it all autumn and winter and spring, and it's pilling up quite a lot. So hopefully I can do some kind of before and after shots, or maybe do some video when I try out this. But I thought I should mention that I have gotten one, and I will tell you about it more when I have tried it out. I have at least some knitting that needs to be depilled. And I also have a fabric dress that I want to check out if I can use this on. So this will be really exciting when I get there. So maybe my shawl can be as new when I have tried this. I really hope so, because I love that shawl. It's my best shawl ever. So yeah, that's all of my knitting and craftiness for this time. Hopefully I will be able to get some sewing in today. It's Sunday, I should maybe have mentioned it in the start. But yeah, it's Sunday, so today I have some energy left. I have been out on a walk with the dogs, and I have had some breakfast and second breakfast. That's how I roll now. And since I dyed a lot of yarn yesterday, I want to do something else today. So hopefully I can have some sewing to show you next time I record. So there's not much left to say except thank you so much for spending some of your time with me. I really hope that you will come back for more next time I record. You can always write comments down below, and I always put my show notes with links in the description box, and I do also post it on Ravelry in the ChubbyPugYarn podcast group. So if you have any questions or comments or anything, I really love to hear from you. And you can find me on Instagram as Distortion. And if it's something I haven't mentioned about my finished objects or my works in progress, you can always find them on my Ravelry page. I'm really good at updating how much yarn I've used. I weigh all my yarns and all that stuff. So if you want to know needle sizes or whatever, just check it out there. And except for that, I hope that you will have a really nice weekend and week ahead, with really much crafting time and hopefully nice good weather. Until next time, have a great time. Bye!